Let me show you this picture and just take a good long look at it, because you will see Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. This is the man, this is the leader of this Islamic jihadist group, ISIS, violently taking over one city after another in Iraq. Time magazine, in fact, calls him the most dangerous man in the world. But did you realize that al-Baghdadi here was once in U.S. custody, held at Camp Bucca in Iraq for 4 years? When he was released in 2009, his parting words apparently to the camp's commanding officer were this: "I'll see you in New York." Last hour, that commanding officer talked to our own Wolf Blitzer right here on CNN.
We had many of the most dangerous folks in the world there at Camp Bucca. And we had them in a certain area, identified them, and put them in a certain compound. To be honest, he was not in that compound. He did exhibit certain events, and he did exhibit certain tendencies and behaviors. But while he was dangerous, he was not one of the most dangerous, at least at the time.
Wolf Blitzer joining me to talk a little bit about that interview. And I'm just curious off the top, did Colonel King even understand what al-Baghdadi meant at the time when he said that?
He said to me he thought, you know, the unit, the reserve unit that Colonel King was responsible for, a bunch of guys from Long Island, Camp Bucca, named after a firefighter who died on 9/11 at the World Trade Center. And so when he uttered the words, and I think the precise quote was, "I'll see you guys in New York," the assumption was he didn't take it as a direct threat, although now Colonel King said to me he sees it with hindsight as a direct threat, referring to another 9/11 in New York, something along those lines. He didn't really appreciate how determined, how sophisticated, and how passionate this al-Baghdadi was as far as creating this new terrorist organization designed to go after not only targets in Syria and Iraq and elsewhere, but also the United States.
Do we know why the U.S. let him go in 2009?
The assumption was he was being released. He was being handed over after 4 years in U.S. captivity at this military prison at Camp Bucca in Iraq. He was handed over to the Iraqi government in 2009 because the U.S. was beginning its process of withdrawing, and the Iraqi government was going to take charge of these dangerous prisoners. And so they assumed when he was sent to another Iraqi military prison, they would take care of him. He didn't appreciate it at the time. He didn't realize the Iraqi government of Nouri al-Maliki was going to release these guys fairly quickly, and they were released.
Ugh, and now he is the most dangerous man in the world right now. We just got word that the President of the United States will be meeting with his national security team tonight. Do we presume they will be talking Iraq?
There are, according to White House officials, there are fundamental options, military options, on the table. The president is flying back from the weekend in California. He gets back to Washington late this afternoon, early evening. He's going to go into a meeting at the White House with his top national security advisors, and they're going to review what the White House is now suggesting are fundamental military options. We don't know what the president's going to decide, if he's going to decide on a specific military plan, but we do know there are a lot of options, including drone strikes, air strikes. The only thing the president so far, as you know, Brooke, has ruled out is boots on the ground, U.S. troops going back into Iraq. But other than that, there will be various options at the disposal of the president. He wants the Iraqi government, Nouri al-Maliki, the prime minister, to do the right thing, take the steps he's refused to take over these past few years since the U.S. withdrawal. And I think the ball is really in Nouri al-Maliki's court.
Wolf Blitzer, we'll see you as always, 5 o'clock Eastern on the Situation Room. Thank you, sir.